Hey, what's up guys? It's Nick from Fit Futures here with yet another answer to yet another question. Today's question comes from Allie in Christchurch, and the question is, Nick, how can I overcome my fear of failing assessments and thereafter failing as a personal trainer? Well, this is an interesting question, Allie, and a lot of our students suffer with this. In fact, people all around the world suffer with that fear of failure. I guess my first piece of advice would be to appreciate that failure is going to happen regardless of whether we want it to or not. We're going to obviously put our best foot forward and we're going to study really hard, and for all intents and purposes we're going to do our best not to fail, but there's going to be times where we do. Nobody is perfect, and there is going to be things that we're not necessarily amazing at, and that can also impact on the outcome. But it's not to say that you won't be amazing at something for long, because the idea behind our course, or at least the way it's structured with respects to assessments, is that while failure isn't encouraged, we do try to tell students that they should look at failure as an opportunity to grow and to learn. With any assessment, the idea is that we are looking to see what you know now, okay, in this very moment. What do you know? What is your understanding? What is your comprehension of the assessment brief and the learning material within the course? If you were to fail something, we have multiple opportunities for students to attempt a particular assessment within the course. So what that tells us, as a student, if I was to put on my student's hat for a second, what that would tell me is that I have multiple attempts to get it right, multiple attempts to learn the learning material to get it right so that I can achieve that passing grade. Okay, so if you were to fail an assessment, you shouldn't have a fear or a stigma surrounding failure, because the idea is that we would be able to give you some feedback and point you in the right direction with where to fill in the blanks, so that the next time you submit, you have that increased level of knowledge required in order to achieve the passing grade. Now, one thing that a lot of students tend to do is they will look to plagiarize other sources in order to, I guess, alleviate the potential for that failure to occur. Okay, so they will heighten the chances of them getting a passing grade if they plagiarize the source. Now, that sounds good in theory, except that we actually keep an eye out for plagiarism. And quite often we will see that students have copy and pasted certain pieces of work, either from the learning material or from other sources that we are familiar with, and we are constantly on the lookout for this. Now, students will do this because they can sometimes become a little bit overwhelmed by some of the course material, especially as it pertains to the anatomy and the physiology side of things. The science can be quite dense, and learning about blood flow through the heart and the ultrastructure of muscle can be really daunting. And then when you need to relay that information in written form and you don't quite have the deep understanding that you feel you need, that is when students will look to go copy and paste instead of putting it into their own words. But remember, we need you to put it into your own words before we can have an appreciation for just how much you know. Okay, but just know that plagiarism is something that students tend to use as a workaround because they fear failure. But once again, just dive in. Put it into your own words, throw it up for us to review and look at, and then if you're not quite there, we'll give you the feedback. We'll tell you where you need to go in order to obtain the information you need to achieve that passing grade. And then in the long term, you'll actually benefit from it more. Now, as far as personal training goes, and really any other form of life, any other endeavor, there can be failure with it. But just like I've asked you to do with your studies, embrace failure, because failure is an opportunity for growth. Failure can take us outside the comfort zone, and failure can really just identify weaknesses within whatever our repertoire is. Any weaknesses you have, you can then work on and turn those weaknesses into strengths, right? There is always potential to grow with failure. And then from a business standpoint, working as a personal trainer, it may be that you have a weakness in a certain area of managing your business, in which case, identify what that area is and outsource. It may be that managing your books is something that you struggle with. That's perfectly fine. Focus on the program writing, focus on the implementation of those programs, focus on the actual training of your clients, and leave the business side of things to maybe an accountant. Okay? So never fear failure. Failure is always there to teach us. It's always there to demonstrate an area of weakness that we can turn into a strength. We can always grow from it. So embrace it. Don't be scared of it. I hope that answered your question, Allie. And to the viewers, click the link for more, because there's plenty more content coming your way. Until next time, guys, keep well.